Legitimately looked like I had the skin of an onion. So.
And then everybody cried.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for the beeps?
Oh, yeah.
9, 8, 7, 6,
I think that counts down.
5. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
2, 1. And
wake up to the roasto!
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Welcome to the Roasto, everybody. Episode 10.
Oh my God, 10.
10 full episodes we have recorded. According to Buzzsprout, though, our podcast hosting service, we already hit that milestone because I have a teaser trailer up. So I was like, wait, we haven't recorded 10. It's like, happy 10th episode. And I'm like, you're stealing this from me.
I don't know if I've done
early.
10 of anything, like,
Consecutively?
consistently.
What? Didn't you play 7 Days to Die for like 10 weeks?
I guess that's consistent, but there's so much inconsistency. Like being late, or like streaming it this little bit, or this, or playing it this and that.
Okay.
Or just
To be
walking
fair, we
around.
have skipped a couple weeks.
We have. It's taken us a while to get
Intermittently.
here. So. But that's not bad, you know. Especially for an every other week podcast, I think we're doing pretty well. And people seem to be enjoying what we do. So thank you, everybody out there, for listening. And yeah, welcome to the Roasto.
Yeah.
We are happy to have you, or happy to be with you, I should say, because you're not here with us. We're here with you wherever you are. You could be in the tub, for all I know, relaxing with a bath, listening to us.
Is that what you do in the bath? You listen
Yes.
to podcast?
That or I read. Yeah. I
book?
never.
In the bathtub?
On my Kindle. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're nervous that you're going to drop it?
No.
Do you ever hit yourself in the head with a phone when you're in bed?
Yes.
Just drop it in your face?
I have.
I haven't done
totally.
that since I was like 14.
I used
did
to
that,
fall
like,
asleep.
last week. I was wide awake too.
Just
Just
God.
drop it, and it just goes on my chest, and whatever. And I'm just like, I'm clearly very smart.
I need to go
Pop
to bed.
sockets help.
Yeah.
It's like
they
a
do.
little
Pop
rippy.
socket.
I just
Yeah.
hold them like by the pop socket.
Pop socket makes me want to do that old, like that old high school, like what's that urban dance thing where they're like
The pop lock
drop,
and
and pop lock and drop it. Yeah.
I have the pop socket or whatever where you can actually put your finger through the back.
Nice.
So like,
That is not a pop socket.
well, it's a whatever.
I got a kickstand.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you do. I love your kickstand. Like, you're
I
just
love
cool.
the look at this freaking kickstand. It's like a bike or a motorcycle, and you can just be like, hey, watch my phone.
Yeah.
And you put it up, and it's propped, and goes both ways.
Oh.
So if you're sitting there, I used to go get sushi, and I would put it here, and just like I'd scroll through reading
Right.
stuff, and it was fantastic.
Here being his knee, for those of you who are listening and not watching.
Well, at the sushi bar,
Oh, yeah.
you could like, I wish I'd had this because I can do that like the horizontal one as well. I can't do the
Nice.
vertical. It's a little more. It's propped up. but
Kickstand is pretty awesome.
It is pretty
It's
awesome.
the future.
It is. I love it. And you can hold it by the kickstand too. It's
I do.
not too flimsy.
I actually use the kickstand as a little bit of a way that I can like do that little
yeah.
kind of momentum, or I don't know if momentum is the wrong word. Little
Tucked between his fingers.
tucked between
Again,
my fingers,
for
and I
those
can
who
just
are
like
listening,
I don't
not
have to
watching.
wrap my fingers around it. I
Yeah.
can just go full open palm.
Oh, there you go. So that way you could like walk up to an enemy and be like, fake them out. You're like, hey, look, you want to see something on my phone? Smack! Open
Right.
palm.
Yes, open palm, phone to the face.
Exactly.
With my iPhone that I paid a lot of money for.
Hey, you know what? If they're that much of an enemy, it's worth it.
Is it?
I guess.
Do you get insurance for that? You think when they ask you why you broke it?
My friend smacked it on his face, so I'm blaming it on him. It's accidental damage.
I feel
Can I-
like telling somebody you were protecting yourself against a thief is better than my friend dropped it arbitrarily on his face. Like one of those sounds like it's more necessary than the other one.
That's true. Yeah, I would say that's true. So and my friend was trying to steal my phone.
Can I tell you
What did you say
guys?
somebody was? You
Oh.
put your friend in there. It just makes it sound like some kind of like domestic kind of like friend dispute, and you're just like, I just be like some dude that I don't even know. What are they gonna take you to court with your phone? What are they gonna get an investigator?
Well, you do have to file a police report.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, if you need to do that, makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, if you lie, I guess.
Yeah.
Although they
See,
could be like, we
that's
were
a-
friends, but we're not friends now after the
Yeah,
event.
no, I'm taking them to small claims court, and then you split the money, 50-50 on the back end.
So you want to talk about really, really bad money decisions? So funny enough, for this game that we were playing this game, and it's really short because people on the podcast might not know. It's called Eco, and it's got all this economics and government and stuff like that. It's like a survival game, and you play together as a big community.
Right.
But we were joking because the game has like taxes and whatnot. But we were joking in that what if we had played in a way where we took advantage of all these loopholes? Mm-hmm. So we were gonna go get a person that would go literally sit on an island with a building that had a bank that we just gave them money to. So it was technically not in our accounts.
Right.
So that when we had to pay anything, we don't have any money. Because
It's an offshore
somebody
accounts.
else has it in this other country over here.
Oh, that's a timely topic.
So we're coming up with hilariously entertaining money laundering. But the downside is that it does, like, at the end of the day, we're like, we probably shouldn't do that, because if we did do that, then it might screw with people enough that they might not have the enjoyment, because they're actually not going to get that money back to them, because obviously you can't pay for things or taxes and all that.
Right.
But we were coming up with it's fun to come up with money laundering schemes in a video game, because it's just so silly. It's so meaningless.
It
But it's
can't
so
actually
silly.
hurt anybody.
I mean, it could wreck some people's fun, but then you can be like, okay, we had some fun. We'll go back to it.
Right. You can always reset.
Yeah, it's like friendly trolling, but
Yeah.
it's so funny to see what you can get away with. It's like a social experiment.
Oh, there you go. Like the Stanford prison experiment.
I don't know about this one.
Totally harmless.
Oh, that experiment's why you're not allowed to do stuff like that anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
It's funny. For some reason, my brain, when you said that's so why you can't do stuff, and my brain stopped that sentence before you continued. That's that experience why you can't do stuff. Just stuff. You're not allowed to do anything.
You're just not allowed to do anything.
Anything at all.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about the Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah. So it was like this experiment where they like got a bunch of students over, like they were going to do it for like a week, but it only lasted for like a weekend.
Oh boy, that's when you know it got real good.
Yeah, because and there's been movies about it and stuff, but is basically this experiment. This is a very boiled down version of it. They got like a group of students to get together. Some were going to be prisoners and some were going to be like prison wardens and
Took
guards.
turns. They were supposed to take turns.
Yeah, they were supposed to take turns, but they never got to it because
So they just had a bunch of random people. Nobody was actually
they
a
were all
prisoner.
students.
They were just like
Yeah,
people. They were like, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" And they're like, "Sure."
But they really did treat them.
like prisoners and
Yeah.
prison guards, and,
Okay.
and like
So you had to live the life.
yeah,
Basically, the prison guards were given free reign to treat the prisoners however they desired.
So they wanted to see
how
that would work out.
Yeah, and
How
they
long
wanted-
was it supposed to go for? A week?
I think it was supposed to go for a week or like a month or something, but it didn't even get halfway because the prison guards went almost killed people basically.
What?
Yeah, like
These are just like random.
they're college students. Like
First
this was
of
put on by a
all,
college professor.
actually, not that you shouldn't even condone that for anybody, even if they are actually in jail. But the fact that they were even like,
Yeah.
not even. It seems so bad too, because you're just like some random dude that was doing an experiment.
They
They're
were
like,
friends.
I'm just
a lot
gonna
of
beat
them.
up. Like,
Yeah.
like you and I would have in this situation. I guess if I was the people, I would have beat you up because
Yeah.
you were a prisoner.
Yeah, basically, and
What?
and like a lot of these kids were like friends with each other.
How
too.
old were they?
College age,
Okay. I
like
think
between
you said
18
that, yeah.
and 24, 25, somewhere in there. Yeah, like I think most of them were just going for their bachelor's degree, and like their professor was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Like, and they ended up having to call the experiment early because it was getting to the point it was violent.
Yeah,
How do they
because
know?
the people who were supposed to be like the prisoners, for lack of a better term, I can't remember if that's exactly what it was, but originally it was like, this group will be in control of you and you have to follow their rules. And group A, the people in control, pushed the boundaries a little bit, and the people in group B were like, hey, don't do that.
Right.
And they're like, well, you can't argue with us because we're the ones in power.
Wow.
While being egged on by the professor. The professor was like, "See what you can get away with."
Was it like an unethical thing, or was he just trying to be like, yo, don't have any inhibitions. We're trying to actually get information out of this, so
I mean-
don't feel like you need to hold back or something like that.
I mean,
so they can measure what people.
I think he would do it with individually, like with one of them or two of them or something like that. But overall, they were supposed to be like in control. But
Right.
like
I've
Was there like a meaningful, is there any meaningful data or like a research paper written on this?
I thought that I mean, I almost went into college for psychology. I'm pretty sure that he just like hands off.
yeah, they were.
He set up the parameters and then
Yeah.
just backed off.
Right.
like he was supposed to be for sure. And I don't know.
So he probably did it based on the research review board or whatever. I can't remember the name of it because there's pretty strict criteria.
right.
Although
This was-
although I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to have violence.
Well, I
and
think
there's
this
also
was-
a whole lot of stuff that's outlined.
By the time the violence kicked in, the professor was like, "Okay, well, this needs to stop."
yeah, they were
okay.
trying to get it to stop.
Yeah, like they weren't just like.
It was like on the verge of like basically like a little riot going on in there, from what I understand. But they were like calling it because of that. Yeah, but like
That's how you find out who's really a good friend. The ones that will beat you up if you're behind bars and you can do whatever you want.
or slip you food or whatever. Yeah,
It's funny because
Hey, Darko, do you want to do an experiment?
I'm in this experiment with this game I told you about. This
Yeah.
social
Right,
experiment,
yeah.
Eco.
That's true.
You know what it reminds me of? That reminds me too. These are all just like basically very much more complex iterations of Monopoly, where
Yeah.
you play and you hate each other. If you play in a way that you feel is you're trying to win, right?
Right.
So you do what you can, right? But then everybody
you
hates
end up
on the
screwing
winners.
over your
and you
opponent.
get upset with each other.
Right.
Eco and this experiment are just like more advanced versions of Monopoly. You really find out who is who,
Who's your friend?
and
Who's-
after it's all done. It's done. It's changed. You'll never be the same anymore. You've learned,
yeah, that's true.
or you've been beaten up.
I feel bad. You were gonna say something, Gray, beforehand. You were like, let me just say, and then we ended up getting off on a tangent that led to.
Oh no, I was gonna say, can I tell you guys about what a dumpster fire of a person I am?
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're
Of course.
just real quick before you do, if we sound a little different today, or
look at this. He
I
stops
have
himself.
the Rona. No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I mean,
you
I
don't-
might. Maybe. Nobody knows.
We're being safe and we've distanced
distancing.
ourselves just a little bit more. So if we sound a little different today, that's why.
Only 6 months. It only took us 6 months to start distancing. You know,
Oh, but we've been clean before then. Sorry, but go. Okay, sorry.
that we know of.
That we know of, yes. But yes, sorry. I wanted to just preface that before we got too much further. Great.
We're responsible.
Go ahead.
Adults, all of us. Go ahead take us on your story.
Oh no, it's not very long, but basically, Darko, you pretty much stream every day, pretty much.
When I can get out of bed, yeah.
Yeah. Jack streams whenever he possibly can.
I keep a schedule.
Whenever you can,
Yeah.
basically. I was like, ooh, people keep asking me to show my doodles. I will try this. Streaming is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my first few months, I was freaked out.
I was like totally alone.
Yeah.
No one in my chat except for Jack to help me make sure that the stuff I had set up was working, and
Yep.
I legitimately started crying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, my first stream, I don't cry. I'm not a crier. I
got really anxious.
I couldn't be a crier, like a town crier or a crier. But when I
Bring out your streamers.
when I first started streaming, my very first time I turned the camera on and went live, my hands were like shaking.
Oh yeah, I can see
Real
that.
bad shaking because I was so nervous. But then now that I think about it, like I don't find anything to be nervous about because I didn't have anybody was watching me. That was just nobody even knew who I was. But then I was like so nervous about everything because I
Right.
hate being in
You
front
want to
of
make sure
people in
it's
public.
Yeah.
And all that. So I would go pick up my my coffee, and I was like so nervous that people were going to see me like shaking my coffee, things like that. So I get it. I understand. It's very nerve wracking, even if there is nobody there. But then it's weird. It's a whole transition. But I will tell you this: everybody, this is this thing. People think that they're going to jump on camera and stream and be awesome. Mm-hmm. No. Nobody is. Everybody sucks.
No.
Right.
I suck. Sorry, but I don't see your stream, but we all just generally suck. I'm not saying you're a streamer, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we all suck.
Yeah, you hate every other streamer, and we all suck in comparison to you.
Yes. It's because I'm rich. And everybody hates the rich, so we should eat me.
Yes, tax you and why am I putting this on?
Of course. So no, I get it, and I completely sympathize with that. If you want to feel better about yourself at my expense, we can watch
That's not
today.
really how my brain works.
I mean, that's not how I should. That's not really a good coping mechanism, right?
No.
So it's a really good way of like, feeling bad, so that when I'm like 90, I'm sitting alone in a chair. I'm just like, man, maybe I should have made some different decisions, a bit more positive.
Yeah.
And made fun of others. No, actually, no. Hold on. And then
Maybe I should have spent my time uplifting others and doing things for other people instead of making fun of myself and
Right.
saying, you know what, I'm rich, go away.
right, but dry, sarcastic cynicism is way more fun to me.
It's your bread and butter now.
It's just what I do. You said this college professor was super dry.
Yeah.
And he would do these little offhanded comments, like I can't remember exactly, but he'd be like, like saying, oh, Rome did this thing, and be like, oh, that turned out really well, like kind of like stuff like that, like those little offhand, like little mumble comments. He would do that all the time, and it was freaking amazing. I loved it, and then nobody else was like laughing, and I'm like. But the Ghostbusters is a good movie.
Are you awake right now?
Right. Well, Ghostbusters is a great example of it. Super dry comedy.
Yeah.
I love that. And I
love
love
Ghostbusters.
just being totally straight faced and just saying something.
Yeah.
To the point where I'll say something on my stream. I keep going back to this game, but
well,
it's a good
pretty
example.
prevalent right now.
It's your life right now.
It is my life, literally.
How many hours?
120 in 10 days.
Yeah.
So I jokingly, I'll toss out but some people I guess don't really get it, the dry sarcasm. So sometimes I'll be like, yeah, that was a joke.
Yeah.
I
I think I've caught one of those moments. I had you on in the background one day, and like you said something, and I was like, I giggled because I was like, I get it, and then you were like, that was a joke.
Yeah, because some people are like, take it seriously. Like I'm actually meaning that. I'm like, no, that was just a joke. Like I'm clear, but I say it so straight faced that people like might not get it, because there seems to be this division of who gets sarcasm or who enjoys it and those who don't.
Yeah.
Right, and those are the people that I guess that are long term watchers of my stream, because they eventually start to see that that's what about, and that's what they. I would assume that people that watch stream are around because they can they get the streamer's personality and they enjoy it and the content, all that kind of stuff, right? So the more people that watch and you kind of get more viewers, people that hang out because they like you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like doing some variety of stuff, right? So that the content is consistent, but you're the consistent thing.
Right.
So
right. Because that way you can. They're there for you, not necessarily the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a big streamer thing.
Yeah.
It's a big problem when you stick with one game. It's hard to break out, because then if you try to go somewhere else, the people are there for the game.
Right.
But there's always this like back and forth about people like, you should be here for me, and it's like, well, the viewers can be there for whatever they want.
Yeah.
If you're not entertaining enough, or you're playing,
you're just playing a game nobody wants to watch anymore.
Right. Like you might need to consider, how to make it so that people can, enjoy it and hang out for you.
Yes, and
yeah. So, anyways,
doing improv.
Yes, and I offhandedly said on my stream I was going to go back to my continent with the people that we're just playing in our little town together, and there's another town, they work together, so we work together over here, and we have some of the same like skills in industry, so we can do our stuff, they can do our stuff, and then we trade. I jokingly said that I was going to go back and we're going to form the EU and have our own country with our own currency, and we're going to have because there is in the game a currency exchange machine.
Right.
And then people thought I was being serious. And I was like, guys, like, no. But that would be funny though, wouldn't it? Like,
just like Darko's EU.
Yeah. We're going to form, actually, the name, I actually came up with a better name for it later on.
What was that?
It's New Texas.
New Texas.
We're going to form New Texas. And then because we're having such a good time, and it's a really great opportunity for social experiments like this Stanford thing, I was going to blow the bridges like Bane.
You were going to be Bane.
I was going to be Bane and blow the bridges and then see how well that went.
Spectacularly.
I'm gonna go with not well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. We saw how quickly Gotham turned in that movie.
True, but they weren't being held hostage. This would be we were gonna blow the bridges because it was just dramatic, but we'd all had agreed up. We would have agreed upon it.
Okay, so yeah, that would change the parameters slightly.
Yeah. But having said that, that same bridge, I put up protest signs yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my video game that I'm playing. Because it's great. Because this game I play so many games. You play games that are like you mine or you craft survival games. You mine, you craft, you go fight enemies, you go do all these like video game things. You jump over things, you hit your head to get coins and rings and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
It's like a video game. Where this game is such a unique component in that it has economics and politics.
And consequences.
And consequences. And and it's all open. You decide what to do, and I love it because no other game really has these in a large-scale, fully player-driven system. Like you don't have to have money, but you don't have to have a government. But then you realize that if you get enough people, there's a critical mass of people that aren't directly working with each other.
Right.
Then you actually have to do some of these things, or else people just do whatever they want.
And if they then it causes chaos.
And it will cause chaos. So the funniest thing to me is that there are people who are adamantly against certain things because they feel like their current system of government or economics or whatever is just they don't like it. So, you get people that are very socialistic or very capitalistic people, or people like, that was capitalism, like this kind of stuff.
Right.
Or like they don't like certain government or people or whatever. So these things have no meaning in the game because the game is basically, hey, here's this fresh world with grass and trees. You do what you want.
Right.
Your only goal is to blow up this meteor that's going to crash in 30 days. Other than that, you don't have to do very much. You don't have to do that. You just do whatever you want.
So wait, there's a meteor in this game?
Yeah, so it just like circles around, and there's a big timer on it. You said it. But it says 30 days if you leave it by default, and in 30 days it crashes down. It causes catastrophic damage. So your goal is to work through technology. And you go from like, stone axes all the way up to like big backhoes and power and electricity. And so you got to come up with lasers in this like console, and you shoot the meteor down, and that's like,
that's your end game.
That's your pinnacle of, but you can keep playing it a lot.
Right.
But there's none of these things in the real world have any meaning in the game.
Right, because you control literally everything.
But when people have these, like for example, like we use gold was used as the standard for money, right? That's what backed money, so it had something of value behind it.
Right.
So we minted money. They're like, we got to mint money so we can have money because the money system is great to promote trade, so I don't have to give you 6 cows so you can give me like 30 feathers.
That sounds like a very bad exchange.
It's a bad trade. That's why money. That's why there's money, right? That's why we made money.
Right.
Plus, it's also easier because there's a consistent thing to give with each other, right?
Right.
And since it's a server, people play different times, which I guess is in real life too. Right? People play life at different times.
They do.
So you need money to kind of help facilitate that because you're not there to trade my violin for your Tesla.
That's a fair trade.
Right. So so depending on the violin.
Yeah.
But
if it's like a 1,500-year-old whatever violin.
Stradivarius.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would actually be worth like 4 or 5 times at least.
Yeah.
But
it'd be like triple a Tesla at this point.
Yeah. But I digress.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to sit here and make that deal. We just put it up for sale. You come, you buy it.
Yeah.
It's super simple. So it makes people on all different time zones able to participate.
Right.
So anyways, the point of what I'm saying is there's these people who have these notions of what goes on in the real world. So our money is backed by gold. But we don't know if gold is literally the most available resource or if there's like 2 of it.
Right.
Gold has no use in the game because we haven't reached this point.
Right.
So gold is actually a very useless item that backs our currency because it's a real world thing. It's a real world concept. But people, there's a lot of people out there that feel like there's like this disdain for rich people. Like it's not. I'm not trying to get political, but like I'm just trying to call out. Like you'll see the news, people are like, "I'm down with the rich."
Right.
Like, Jeff Bezos sucks. So, and it's not really. I'm not trying to like lean or have an opinion either way. These are things that people will say. And so, anyways,
it's in the headlines.
Right. So as you build this system with people, you end up creating this system that you hate in the game.
You could literally make it a utopia.
Could, but then you find out that it never works like that.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit a critical mass of people, because because you have to start doing certain things or having those things have to work certain ways.
Right.
Instead of walking the ladder up and experiencing and creating the same system and all of these different things. Like, for example, if you put a law out there, like you can't do this, right? And that's it. But the problem though is like we have laws here that like there's so like how many like pages and pages, 50-page laws,
right?
And you're like, it's so stupidly long. Why is it so stupidly long? Because when somebody puts a law out like that, my first reaction is, yeah, but you could also just bypass it by doing this, or you could do this, you could do this.
So you have to go through all the subsections,
right?
and
I'm like, well, what if people also? So, but you're fixing this problem now, but this is also going to create a long-term problem all the way through here,
right?
Like, yes, it's fine now, but anyways, there's all these things, and you start to understand a little bit of how like a government kind of works, or how economics works. It's so interesting, and the point of what I'm saying is not to, propagandize for myself on this server for the people who watch my stream, right? And have to explain this for those that I know are listening and watch my stream and participate. But the point is, that I forgot the point.
You start to realize how complicated it is when it's not just one person spearheading everything and there are a lot no
not that you should have one person dictating, but it does. It's a really interesting system that no other game really provides this, except for getting into actual politics. And that sounds like just a terrible thing to have to do. I would rather have to do that.
Yeah.
So, but it's really, really interesting because you can try to become, a successful business person depending on your economics and all that kind of stuff. But it's really, really interesting because I used to read sociology books because I loved social experiments and these kind of things in economics. Like Freakonomics is a great book, and they had Super Freakonomics, which was slightly worse in my opinion, but because the first one was like so good. They had the Freakonomics podcast.
Yeah.
What was it? What was
Freakonomics Radio?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
They do it on NPR here, like on the weekend.
Yeah. So it's awesome. I love this stuff because it's all about incentivization. Because that's how a lot of things can be created. Like the rat tail story. I can't remember where this was done. There's a rat tail, like an economics. Story that you'll hear. So basically, when you make laws, people try to sit down and come up with why, like you can't like certain things people will take advantage of, right? Because there may not be a system in place that really incentivizes you to do the right thing. It incentivizes you to do the wrong thing. So there's a story with rat tails. There's an actual name for this story, and it's a really interesting story. And anybody who's listening now, again, that has listened to my stream is tired of the story. But we've been talking about it a lot. So there was this. The government put out a bounty because there was too many rats. There's way too many rats, and they needed to take care of it. So they would pay people for the rat tails because the issue is that they didn't want a bunch of just dead rats stacked up.
Right. The tails were more manageable.
The tails were manageable, so they could prove, here's your rat, give me my money. The problem is, though, it sounds great in theory.
Right.
But people were just cutting the rat tails off, leaving the rats alive, letting them breed so they can make more rats, and therefore the rat population increased and made the problem worse.
Yeah.
Because they were just arbitrarily giving money to people for rat tails, but not
instead
actually.
of the full thing. Yeah, the full rat.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I have heard that story actually. Yeah, I don't know where, but I've heard that one.
So this story is I love this stuff, incentivization, and that's why I like Freakonomics is great because you can then figure out why. What it's just, we went back to the Tesla. Oh no, sorry, the Prius thing. The Prius thing was that was another Freakonomics discussion about what incentivizes people to get a Prius. It's because people could be seen as saving the world.
Right,
they
without
really didn't care any less about that.
It's all about how it looks.
Yeah. It's like the whole your name on the brick thing.
Oh dear.
And we talk about this on my stream quite often. Is that streamers who will remove notifications for like tips or subs or things like that. I've seen this happen a few times. And to be clear, I always try to not talk badly about anybody, and I always, when I say anything, unless somebody specifically asks me for advice, I don't like to go and just knock on other streamers or so this streamer sucks because they do it this way. Everybody does their thing this way.
Everybody's different. They've got their way to do it. Yeah.
So I always try to compare it to myself. But in this situation, I will say that I've seen streamers remove those notifications, and some of them I have seen they aren't streamers anymore because people stopped giving.
Right, because there's no recognition.
There's no recognition. There are way fewer actually altruistic people out there than there are people who are just looking for recognition.
Right.
And that doesn't make you, I'm not saying that makes you a bad person.
No.
People think there's like some stigma associated with that. I don't really care either way. But the fact is that when people have their name on something, more people will want to participate because they want to have their name up on a...
it's like a
You're
legacy.
more likely to do something if it's going to give you a dopamine hit.
Sure.
And you get more of a dopamine hit if people are actively reacting to your good actions and being like, oh my God, that's so cool of you. Yeah.
So like, you know, and I'm not trying to say that I don't definitely dramatize when I say thank you to people or things. I'm like genuinely thankful because I have a very awesome, you know, career or job or whatever you want to call it. Or, you know, people make fun of me when I say work. But,
hey, I stream now. It's work. It is work. Trust me, it's work.
I try to be on the fence because... on one hand, I have done some other jobs and I've done streaming, so I have a bit of perspective on different places and whatnot. But then I also try not to like be that person who makes anybody feel bad, like, you know, like I do more than you or I do less than you. Or
some people
like, but there are people like, oh, you try working in construction for 8 hours, somebody they're 12 hours a day. And I'm like, that's fair, but you know, we all just have different things. We all have different ways that we experience, you know, ups and downs or hardships or you know, things are easy. Streaming, I think, is more of a mental thing. It's like a mental workout.
Well, and I compare it to like being an actor. I mean, you and I have talked about this off the show before.
I suck as an actor. It's hard.
Well, you don't suck as an actor. But no, I mean, it's mentally and it can be physically exhausting because you're putting on a performance every time you step in front of the camera. You know, in a sense, it's a caricature of who you actually are. It's you always at 100% or always at 110 sometimes. I mean,
we're trying to change your personality to be that thing.
To be what you think people want.
Yep.
Even if
presence too. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. But yeah, like it's like being an actor in that, like, you know, people always say, well, oh, being an actor must be so easy. You're just pretending. And it's like, yeah, in some sense, you're right. You are pretending, but you actually have to physically believe this and you have to embody a whole nother person. Like, one of my favorite lessons I ever learned when I was going through my ideation class in college, when I was learning script writing.
No more oranges, please.
No. Is we actually had to identify somebody on the campus, and God, no, all I'm thinking about is those damn oranges. Nightmares. We had to identify somebody on the campus, and for a week, we had to
follow them.
We had to watch them without them knowing.
What?
Yeah. It wasn't like
literally. I was just joking, and then you're like, "Yeah."
This is the creepiest class.
This is the same class where you had to
experience an orange,
seductively eat an orange. Okay.
Yeah,
and then you had to creepily follow somebody.
Well, you didn't have to follow them, but you had to like identify a place where they would be like a couple times. Like a lot of people, like you would see at like the cafeteria.
Them.
Yeah. Okay, yes, we would follow them, but you had to watch them.
But they didn't know.
No, but you weren't allowed to interact with this person.
So this is a person not in the class.
Not in the class.
Is this?
It was a little bit
ethical?
Stalkish. It was stalking.
Is this ethical?
Well, okay, but here's the thing.
Did you look in their window?
No.
Did some people take it too far? There's always people that take it too far.
I don't know.
There are those that would be in the window. They would know you're on the first floor.
I mean,
look in the window.
I would jokingly go up to my friends' windows and like stare at them, but
everybody does that.
Yeah.
Ash does that to me at home, and then she knocks on the window, and I'm like focusing on my screen because my computer at home is right next to the window. Mm-hmm. It's a large window. It's a very booming window. And she'll go up to it, and the curtains have big blackout curtains.
Right.
And they're closed all the time. She comes up to it, and she'll knock on it to scare me. So everybody does the window thing with friends.
Right. But I'm pretty sure there were probably people who took it too far. But as far as the person, I was like, okay, I see this guy pretty regularly. I don't know who he is. I'm not allowed to talk to him. I'm not allowed to engage him anyway. And it wasn't like you had to like follow them. It's just when you saw them, you know, you had to just watch them like for a couple minutes.
Pay
like,
attention.
Pay attention to how they move, how they sit. And you had to write it down. And then we actually had to come in the next week and we had to become that person. for the class.
Okay,
So like
hold
we
on.
had to like if you noticed how they walked, right? And so like I noticed like my guy was taller and lankier than me. So like I had to like
It was you. It was secretly you.
a long-haired version of you 5 to 8 years ago.
Okay, wait. Hold on, let me catch up here.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you had to get your notebook out, and then when you cut letters out of the magazine to write notes with, so you could have them not trace your handwriting back to you. You then had to basically embody them so that when you put them in the hole in your basement and you took their skin, you could be them and then also assume their identity and
Buffalo
nobody
Billed
would
it,
know
yeah.
the difference.
I never saw that guy again after that week. Like
That's
legitimately, I
horrifying.
never actually saw him.
Nobody saw that guy after that week. Actually, funny enough, is it you? Are you currently that guy?
Maybe.
Are you wearing a suit over your actual body?
I'm much shorter than I look now.
Okay.
Yeah, really, I'm. You know that scene in Men in Black with the alien controlling the dude? Like,
Edgar? The Edgar suit?
No, not the Edgar suit. The guy that
The one with the
the cap.
He's got a little tiny
The
alien
little
in
green.
in the
Yeah,
head,
the Archillian or something like that.
Yeah, the one he had the
Yeah.
the jeweler guy. And the
Yeah.
cat.
That's what's going on right now. Is inside.
So
You
you're
know,
an
if you were
alien.
to like touch the back of my ear, my face would open up and there'd be a little, alien going.
How much would you freak out if that actually happened one day?
Since we lived together.
You didn't know he was
Honestly-
a robot the whole time.
Honestly, with the way my life is, I'd be like, okay.
Oh, so it's like totally
this makes
reasonable
sense.
that it would happen to you based
Yeah.
on okay.
Yeah.
Based on experience.
Like you'd be like, it would happen. You'd be like, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's
Oh, yeah,
fine.
whatever.
Yeah,
You want to go get some sushi?
Yeah, he's not hurting me. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like,
Whatever.
Do you even eat the sushi? Can you, if we're paying for the sushi,
I can taste
I
it.
just eat the sushi?
I
Yeah,
can taste
do
it.
want to know this. Okay, if you were an alien in a big robot body, your robot body would be food.
Right.
So would you, to kind of live that life, eat the sushi, and then like I assume it just goes through the tubes, but doesn't actually do anything?
I feel like-
Would you do that knowing that you're wasting money just to keep up the disguise?
See, well, yes, first of all, because
Wow.
the disguise. But two,
With someone like me, though?
You're just taking advantage of others so you can keep up the facade.
Here's the other thing, though. I think, and the way I always took the suit, because they ate in that movie, right? It's implied that they ate and had lunch and they could taste everything. The way that I always interpreted it is they got some nutrients from the food, but it also was the power source. Like they had basically developed it. It's a robot, but it runs off like.
So an alien needs pasta.
Yeah, like basically, like I always took it as the suit itself, the robot suit that he was controlling. It does need a power source of some
Well,
kind.
it's like a biomechanical suit.
It's
what you're
it's
saying is an alien, a futuristic alien that's created this very complex robot body that is indistinguishable to a human being that flew here on a very, very huge, very advanced spaceship that took millions of light years, did not have the ability to create a power source.
Oh, I'm
that
sure
could
that
go
they
in the
did.
body.
But
So
have
they
you
opted
tried
to have
Earth food?
to eat pizza instead on a planet that they weren't really familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, have you
makes sense.
tried Earth food? Of course, it would make total sense. Earth
Right.
food is delicious.
So
We're going off the fact that I'm an alien now.
So they were like,
That's part of my canon lore.
Were they like battery or Sbarro? Like
Sbarro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually, that actually kind of leads into. It's a good segue actually because we got some listener questions.
I
Again.
feel like I feel like I cut you off to go on this tangent, and 30 minutes later, we are sorry, but
It's okay.
I don't even know where we started. went
That's the
from
point of
prison-
this show.
Prison to fake politic economics.
To the fact that I am
To your
actually
robot.
an alien controlling a robot
Yes.
suit.
Oh, you're not a robot. You were in a robot body.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm an
but
alien.
you have questions.
You know what sucks?
I have questions.
Yes. Well, you know what sucks is if
Everything.
I'm an alien, why did I choose this body?
Wow.
As a
First
design?
of all, self-deprecating humor. Actually, so they said this the other week, and I thought long and hard about this, and then I make fun of my hairy arms and legs.
You started off
Self-deprecating.
Yeah.
To cope with this.
Yeah.
It's not great. You shouldn't do that. Although that's just something I do, I suppose.
It takes the sting out in the moment, but over
It's
time,
psychologically damaging.
right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've been thinking long and hard about that. I have. And that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
I didn't wear a mask the first few weeks of being in the Rona
Yeah.
because I guess I don't know. I was just going to the store and I was just making sure I was like weaving around people.
Bob and weave.
Yeah,
Bob and weave.
And I was trying to, we were I was standing in the circles, and I was going down the right way in the aisles, and then I don't know, it's like Ash would say, you gotta wear a mask, and I was like, I wasn't really getting it. Mm-hmm. But then I went to get coffee, and somebody said, hey, just so you know, on Monday you gotta wear a mask, so if you could please do that.
Yeah.
But it was like this random person, where I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. So I started wearing a mask all the time when I was around people. But it was really weird. I wasn't actively trying to get it and give it to people. I just didn't really. It took somebody to say something like that, and you just
It
start
didn't sink
thinking
in.
about it.
Right.
So anyways, when I had the poop arm, I think was it
The poo arm.
the poo arm because you put coffee on my arm,
Mushroom coffee. Yes.
and I was talking about my hairy arms or something like that, or something about braiding my arm hair.
Yes. Yes, you are.
So that just kind of got me thinking about that. And I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't kind of make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we got on that about questions.
So yes.
But I wanted you to know that I thought about that. And I
I'm
appreciate
glad
that I appreciate that you are somebody who would say things like that, because some people don't like confronting others, even if it's not confrontational.
Right.
But it's still a confrontational moment in a positive way to say things like, your breath smells, or you should stop having self-deprecating humor or not stop it, but it's funny now, but later on when you're old.
I giggled at your jokes, but I was like, hey, just be aware that maybe that's not a good thing because you went back to it. It was 3 weeks later and you kept bringing it up. And I was like, that's not good.
I mean, they are, to be fair, they're very hairy. Okay? Come on. They are very hairy.
No, I've seen worse.
Also, it doesn't matter if you've seen worse. It's just hair.
Yeah, it is just hair.
Anyways, I know why we got here. Because you're talking about how you chose your body.
Right.
And look, you do what you need to do, all right? You gotta do what you gotta do. If you feel happy or whatnot.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing about, let me be clear. I'm not saying you're obese before I say the next thing.
Wait, I'm a beast?
No, you're not a beast. I'm saying obese. You're not obese.
Oh.
What I'm saying is there's this mindset that, if you are unhealthy,
right,
then maybe you should try to get healthier. Not because it's disgusting or something, but because, you'll just be able to live your life easier. I feel
Right.
like, right? If you're unhealthy, it sucks. It's tough for you.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not one of those, you just get healthy.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just get healthy.
No.
I understand. I'm just saying.
And generally, we're actually pretty healthy. I also I have genetic factors and stuff that keep me I've talked to my doctor about this for years.
Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with your body. I think you're fine.
Oh, well,
But
thank
if you were unhealthy, I would probably be like, yeah, maybe, as a caring individual.
Hey, dude, you're always wheezing after taking 3 steps. I'm a little concerned for you.
Right.
But that's what I feel like Inevitable Gray would be like, hey, you do your thing. You be happy. Having said that, maybe we can figure something out to help you be a little bit healthier.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's always the goal, right?
I'm not shaming you for obesity. I don't think you're obese. I just want you to know that. I feel like every time I say anything, I have to preface it with this whole small print of, listen, your children are fine. You have kids or something, or you're not obese. I don't think you're obese. But
no, I'm heavy set.
I hate children.
I'm well within my range.
Anyway, so like I said, I almost studied psychology in college, and
that's how we did it.
Your
Yes.
patterns of conversational repetition and needing to add addendums to the end of every statement you make is because maybe you have a little bit of that avoidance in you, and you're insecure about the things you say.
Maybe. I just say it because every
Called
time.
out.
I say those things usually because, when I say something, to a big group of people, there are people that are always on that
That's
either
fair.
will misunderstand,
Yeah, you talk
especially
to
with the
or
internet.
they will either take it the wrong way and understand how I'm saying it, or they have that situation, but it's fine for them. But mostly, I'm like trying to say something in a way that I'm just like, listen, you do your thing. So when I say something about this, I'm really only talking about me.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not. So don't take this to think that I'm talking about how I hate your children.
Yeah.
Or I would hate my children.
You hate my children.
I
that
do
haven't been
love
born
that
yet.
this is the example that came up.
His kids, yeah. Well,
Or like what I'm talking about, like if I was getting a little bit more unhealthy, or I became obese.
Right.
Like it's my problem. I need to deal with it.
Right.
I'm not saying that all obese people are like bad or something. So I always try to say these things because I don't want people to think I'm judging them. I'm just trying to talk about me and my life and my things in my own context, because I feel like when you get really upset and you start comparing yourself to others, that's when you become sad and depressed because or you compare yourself to try and like feel good about what you do based on others. And that's a really slippery slope, and that's a big roller coaster to be on. You just always compare yourself to yourself, grow from yourself, use others as examples of maybe being role models, things like that, but never try to compare others to you, because it will never work out. There's always different roads that they took. There's different decisions that were made, different places that they are because of arbitrary reasons.
Right.
So yeah, I always try to say it based on myself and whatnot. I'm not trying to tell you to go out and exercise. I'm saying I feel like I'm unhealthy, so I'm going to go exercise because I don't feel like that's something I want to, I don't want to be that person.
Right.
Because there's always that person that comes and say, well, I'm, you hate me. And I'm like, no, I don't really care. You do your thing.
Yeah. It's not about you. It's about me in this moment.
I shared something on Facebook.
So sorry, but I just want you to know that I say those things and I interrupt others clearly because there was some suppression of me that I need to get out now. That's what that probably means. I'm interrupting others because I can't. A, I don't have
Does
good listening
Ash not
skills.
let you talk at home?
I have no listening skills, and B, I feel must have been suppressed in my younger childhood enough that I couldn't get my thoughts out. And now I feel like I can be loud and talk over others and then interrupt you.
See, I feel like I need to talk to Ash now and be like, do you let Darkosto talk at home? Like, is he allowed to speak, or is this just like he comes home and he has to be quiet and in the corner?
I also for 6 years am the only person who vocally says anything for 7.5 hours a day.
Your
that's
career
true.
has very much shaped you.
Very learned. Anyways,
Go ahead.
Sorry. So I just wanted to bring that up. So on Facebook.
I was going off of something you said, but basically there's always that one person who's like, I want to be contrary just to be contrary, even though I don't actually feel that passionately about this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shared something on Facebook the other night that was speaking like positively in terms of like indigenous folks, right? But the reason, instead of saying indigenous people, it said Native Americans because it was specifically speaking to the point of people saying like, we're Americans, blah, blah, blah. But it was speaking like, there's no such thing as you being an American because we're all immigrants, blah, 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 blah,
Sure.
blah. All that wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And the person just, for whatever reason, just felt the need to be like, they don't like it when you say Native American. And I just wanted to reach through my computer and shake them a little bit.
You know what?
Because they're not even indigenous. Shut up. You don't know what they like.
You know what drives me nuts? I had an experience a few weeks ago that kind of reminds me of that story. I'm holding my fingers like this because there was something else, but then so I can remember.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
Right,
Your
yes.
point
forgotten
finger.
what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was.
yeah.
No,
I
you're
forgot
good.
what that was.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
but I know I had an idea to say something, but I've forgotten, even though I'm doing my mnemonic device. So there is this thing, and it's just a line. So I don't want to I'm not making any comment about politics or anything or leanings.
You're just stating something.
I'm on the line, yeah. Which can be, a lot of times when you even broach a subject, even though it's impartial, people can take that as being political, even though you're like, I never even made a judgment. I just said it's. So anyways, I have noticed that in a lot of situations, there are people, I remember what it was now. There are people who will make those comments, like you're talking about indigenous people or Native Americans, and they will stand up and make that comment for the group of people for whatever that topic is about. And many times they are not in that group of people, which doesn't make it inherently bad. But then there always is the comment of somebody who belongs to that group or that whatever, and they're always like, yeah, I don't really care. Yeah. I belong to this group, and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There's always like those comments, and it makes me laugh. It's because like I get that you want to help stand up for others and give them a voice and raise them up, but you're taking the message. Probably, and you're making it a little bit kind of convoluted.
Sometimes it's because they want to show off that they are informed.
Yeah.
But then, honestly, more often than not, it's largely because we word vomit because we're trying to remind ourselves of what the right thing is
Projection.
to say, right? So we'll kind of unintentionally yell at other people for making a mistake that we don't want to make.
Right.
And then we end up being aggressive toward others for no reason.
Right. Projection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's just you know what? I am a huge advocate. I don't think that humans having livable rights or being treated properly is a political statement. I think it's just a fact of frick-frack life.
Everybody should be treated fairly and equally and whatnot. Yeah.
It's just extra funny when people do that, especially white people.
Oh boy.
And they do that, and I'm like, do you even pay attention?
It's sometimes
who
more
you're
harmful
talking
when
to.
people step in because it's like, okay, we appreciate the effort, for effort. Having said that, it might not be as helpful as you think it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I had a situation where I was accused of stealing code not that long ago.
Oh,
really?
No.
Yeah. So this is a lot longer to explain than what we have.
Right.
Essentially,
and we still have questions.
There was, I know,
and I promise.
That's right. Yeah. So essentially, here I'll give you a really quick TLDR.
Spark notes. Got it.
So basically, there was I had somebody I talked to where they host the mods, where they host the code.
Right.
And we talked to them.
The Nexus.
And so the person whose mod they left the community and basically just their stuff was gone. We and like 2,000 something other projects relied on this mod to be there, and it was a fundamentally difficult thing to remove and replace.
Right.
And it was extremely detrimental to myself and then also many others. So when we looked, and I talked to somebody where they host the mods, and I said, this is going to be a big problem for the community. Also us. I mean, I was also advocating for myself, but also but I was also recognizing that it was a community thing too. So I said, what can we do to help the people transition out of this tough place? And they looked and they said, oh, actually, the license says that you can do that you can take the code and you can use it, and you can basically repost it. But you have to make minimal changes because our automated system will think it's a copy. So you just have to make a quick change, not because you're trying to change their code and pass it off as your own, but because the automated system literally will say it is a file that already exists. You can't put a copy file.
Right.
So we're like, cool. And I confirmed this like multiple times just to be sure.
Right.
So the page was not up. Before the page was taken down, it was all rights reserved, which that means you can't do that.
Right.
But it was changed. And then the page was removed. So we did this based on the evidence that we had. We then had people jump on and white knight for this mod dev, saying it was all rights reserved. We had no authority. We were and paragraphs, huge paragraphs about how we were doing all these terrible things, how we stole code and everything. And I said, look, guys, unfortunately, we do actually have evidence from an employee. I wasn't going to name the employee because I wasn't going to.
No, it's nobody else's business.
We have an employee because it is not their actual business. They're not that person. So it was like, so we do have permission. It is not actually all rights reserved. It was changed. Having said that, we are confirmed that we can do this, and this is fine. They said, and they went and found a link from the Wayback Machine on the internet, which pulls a page from 2 months ago that it was all rights reserved. So I'm like, your evidence for me is a 2 months old page. That's the only evidence that you have. Meanwhile, none of these people were in the project had any stake in it, the only person that really could have done anything was the original author, which changed the license. And there was a thing on the page that says that he changed something. This is all rights reserved. Basically, he changed that paragraph to say you can use this in any way you see fit, and talked about the license change a little bit.
Right. So
the mod dev left the community because he was basically harassed out from a different event.
Different thing. Yeah.
Deleted his stuff, left. The people that were on my case didn't accept the evidence and were getting out of hand. So we had to ask the website that hosts the mods to pull the page out of archive to put it back up publicly.
Oh my God.
Which is what the author did not want.
Right.
So that we could show them the evidence that the license was in fact what we said it was. So they did more harm to the author than I did. And it just makes me laugh because people were standing up for somebody with no evidence and actually made it worse.
Right, and without being asked to as well.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So that's kind of what it reminded me of that situation on Facebook, because it happens so often. It's like, yeah, you definitely, I get that you want to be there and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I know you're like,
no, you're good.
Really wanting to get the question out. So I had this really interesting situation, and I was like, and it just kind of resonates with me when that happens, because I'm just like, you definitely, like, you should definitely not just like be quiet and sit in your chair and not, but you should definitely stand up and talk about things. But you got to like know what's going on, and just know that if you're saying this is in fact what the message should be.
Right, and listen to the people who are actually, being, for lack of a better word in this, oppressed, and be willing to take direction from people whose cause this is. Stand up and, but that's a whole nother thing. And we had a great segue, and then
It's okay to have feelings.
Yeah, and we had a great
but don't
segue.
Be a butt.
Don't be a butt.
Anyway, we have questions.
You know what else has a butt?
Darko, no.
We had a great segue, and then we lost it. What's a butt?
The question mark on the end of a question. That's the butt of the question. It literally is shaped like a butt. The top of a question mark is shaped like a butt, and it's a little dot for your feet. There's your segue. Give me some questions. Feed me, Seymour.
Oh, feed me. Okay, so these two questions come from Grens and Lows.
You know what I like about cars? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I was literally about to throw this tablet at you.
No, Grens and Lossel, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, watch me play Eco.
Nice, and has been tuning in to watch me edit and draw and stuff too,
nice.
Which is cool.
Very awesome.
And is apparently a listener, which thank you very much. So there's two questions.
Okay.
One of them is they're both addressed to all of us. Mm-hmm. So the first one is, how did all of you come up with your streamer/online persona names?
Oh my gosh, you gave me a preview of this question.
Yeah. So why don't we start with
by basically telling me to shut up.
What? No. No. Wow.
Called out.
Well, I was going to say, let's start with you, Inevitable Grey.
I have reasons to not like my last name. When I was a kid, I was the only person in my entire family who had gray eyes. So I thought that made me unique.
Right.
Yeah.
And as I was trying to differentiate myself from my family, I was like, hey, that's a feature that I don't share with literally anyone in my family. Gray. My name is blankety blank Gray. So I went by that for a long time. I'm also a kind of person who, being very interested in psychology and things like that, I'm very aware of the gray areas in life. So for a long time there, I had I guess a blog, you would call it. Not really, but I kind of consistently posted under this saying it. And I called
it. Was it a Zanga?
No.
Okay.
And actually, I think I still have some posts up on a Tumblr under this name.
Tumblr. I've never been on Tumblr.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
I used to role play on there occasionally. Not for very long, because then I found out everyone was like 15, and I was like, nope, don't like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I posted under something called Into the Gray, meaning like, let's discuss things that maybe are not black and white, maybe might be morally in the center.
Oh my God, that's
also,
such an awesome concept.
Right?
I like that, actually. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
yeah, so I still have like that blog and that thing, like that URL and stuff saved, because I do actually still want to use it. But anyway, so when Imaginary Friend Jack started doing publicly visible internet things and such, I wanted to keep my personal stuff separate. And I was trying to think of a new username, and I was like, well, inevitably it's going to be something to do with gray. Huh?
There it is.
There it is. I like it.
Roll credits.
There we go.
I like it.
So yeah.
They used the name of the movie in the movie. Oh my gosh.
That was like your stream the other day. Everybody kept using like my name in a sentence.
Right. Because like they were saying like you always say the inevitable gray. Like I never just say gray.
Yeah, I was sitting next to him on stream, and he kept saying the inevitable gray, the inevitable gray, the inevitable gray, and I'm like, dude,
You can
that's
just
a lot
say
of
gray.
syllables. You could just say gray.
Imaginary Friend Jack is very polite to everybody. And Imaginary Friend Jack feels bad
I
for
do.
situations when like he can't pronounce somebody's name or isn't sure.
Yes.
And I find it not as a way to make fun of you, but I find it endearing that
Yeah.
it bothers you that
It
you
does.
don't know how to properly pronounce somebody's name, to the point where I was asked how to do it
Mm-hmm.
because you felt like you wanted to know because you owed it to somebody to be polite
I
to
owed
them.
it to Urginasex.
It's Urgent Asswicks.
Urginaswix.
One day.
It's
To be
because
fair, I also say it wrong,
yeah.
but it's become a meme at this point, I suppose.
Okay.
Or it's just like one of those things,
One
I
of those
guess,
things.
like the nickname, but kind of I don't.
Right.
I have a friend that I used to hang out with when I lived in New York called Kevin, but I started calling him Kevin.
Kevin. I have
Kevin.
a friend named Steven who I call Stefan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that.
Steven.
It's more of like an
Steven.
endearing like kind
Right.
of thing. You know, it's nothing like I'm saying your name bad because I'm trying to bother you.
or
I
I'm being a
hate
jerk.
you.
Yeah. It's just because it's the meme at this point.
Sure.
So how did you come up with your name, Darkosto?
Wait, hold on. So you were able to come up with yours based on your own unique experiences and something that you came up with. Is that
It
how
had
yours?
personal
No,
was
meaning.
yours you came up with based
No. Your community came up with my name because of you.
Right.
Because-
yeah.
so-
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were talking
Wow,
about
you were a player
your
in that
previous-
actual.
No, actually, no. I wasn't thinking about Imaginary Friend Jack, but before that, you had your different screen name, but that
Oh,
was
yeah,
also
yeah.
just basically your
Yeah.
actual like business.
I went
such name.
through I went through a lot of like trying to find something and like I always like as growing up I was like I like the idea of having a nickname like
Yeah.
I like when people have nicknames. I think it's fun, but I was always a very firm believer in that like I can't give myself my own nickname. That's weird, you know.
Screw that! I gave myself all my own nicknames.
Well,
I
like
don't give
for
a
me,
heck.
it was weird. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to come naturally and stuff. And so like I used to go by a handle like 50mm life because 50mm like lens and stuff was one of my favorites. And I was like, well, maybe I should just make my brand more of my own thing. So I started using my first and last name with art attached or an abbreviated last name. And then you and I started hanging out, and there became this joke in your community that
I was just yelling.
you were
into the
just
void.
yelling into the void that no one was actually there, that
Right.
you were talking to your imaginary friends,
Yep.
that no one else worked in the office. And I thought that was hysterical. Because you would say, like, Jack, he's right there.
Yep.
And people started going, no, it's your imaginary friend, Jack. And I started an Instagram account because I thought it would be hilarious to just post.
You started the Twitch account first, or at least you
Or you
changed your
transferred your-
Twitch
yeah.
thing.
No, I did the
First.
Instagram first because I started posting photos
Yep.
of you with empty space next to you, and like we started doing these jokes because I just wanted to see it be funny.
Yep.
And then I was like, you know what, maybe I should start Twitch streaming and stuff because I really believe that if I'm going to direct people, who do it, I should know what they go through. And so I was like, I'll start streaming and stuff. And I just started thinking about it, and I was like, well, there's kind of already this joke about me. And I kind of thought about it as like, it's kind of a nickname that I've always kind of wanted. And so I just like adopted that as Imaginary Friend Jack. And it's kind of stuck. And I love it. I love that that's a thing that came up. And I think it's just a fun, again, like the community gave me a name. And I think it's
a pretty
really
neat name too.
It is.
It's really long.
It is. So it just gets shortened to IFJ a lot.
Yeah.
Master gave me a sulk.
Yes. Jackie's free. The community gave me a name. But okay. How did you come up with your name, Darkosto?
I ripped mine. I stole it like I stole code.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I used to play this game called Star Wars Galaxies.
Yes.
Back in the day, it was an MMO that predated World of Warcraft.
I remember Star Wars Galaxies.
Oh, you're so old.
Yeah, I know. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful game. It's a player-driven economy in the Star Wars universe. And
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yes. I love open games like that.
Yeah.
Like you can go get the resources, make your own shop. You have to get like city planners to be able to make deeds and place your buildings down.
Right.
But it was all in an MMO. So you have to play World of Warcraft, how that's all pre-placed. You can't change the world. The world was basically there with cities, but then you could go out and past a city and then build your own town and your own like little economy and all that kind of stuff. And there was credits and all these things.
Right.
And everybody had their roles, and you could only really specify a few roles. Everybody had to kind of work together to have the gambit of professions and things like that, and abilities. And I was this character named Darkosto that was a Jedi on the server, like the infamous Jedi on our server.
That was like their actual name?
Was Darkosto?
That was their name in the game, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That was their lore-given name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no. Sorry, it was not a Star Wars. It was another player.
Oh, okay.
That was their player in that was their player name in the game.
Oh wow, so you really are a thief.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have like I remember people that ask me this. They're like, "You stole it." I'm like, I don't really. Yeah, I'm not trying to like make it.
I thought it sounded cool.
I was trying to make it sound like it did.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are people literally in my chat. They're like McDonald's 54. I'm like, you really came up with that, or I eat fries 70s. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you came up with it, but I'm just saying I've seen some names.
Yeah.
I've seen some names. Anyways, judgments aside, World of Warcraft came out. My friend Kevin, funny enough, was bugging me to buy it. Because I'm like, this sounds dumb. He's like, you should buy World of Warcraft. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I just got off that Star Wars game. When they changed the game so bad that we all left.
Right, the community kind of died out.
Yeah, I don't want to jump into it. And then he finally convinced me. So I got my MacBook. Because I was artistic, and I felt like a MacBook was very important for my art. And so I went over to his place, and he had 2 copies reserved at like GameStop. So we installed it. And we're sitting there at the screen making our characters, my troll hunter, and I was like, I'm bad with the names. In the previous game, there's a random name generator. Okay. And I just did that, and I hated it the whole time. It just bothered me. What was your name? It was like Valpo or something like that. And I was just like, it would bother me so much that when I played my character, it would just drive. It was like a screw being driven to me. Like I just knew how bad it was. And so I was like, I gotta find a cool name that I'm gonna like, that I'm gonna see it. It's gonna bother me, but I'm like, yeah, it's a cool name. Right. So I was figuring it out, and I was sitting there, and I was just like, doing that thing when your eyes go up because you're accessing your memory. And I was like, oh man, there was that Darkosto name. That was really cool. I really like that name. I'm like, I'm gonna choose that, and then I'll find a cool name. I'll think more about it. Right. And then I never found another. It just kind of stuck. It was like back in like 2003 or something. Right. Yeah. It's like, so like 17 years ago. And then when I got Steam, because I think this predated Steam, or at least. I think WoW and Steam were. It's like pretty close. Yeah, they were around the same time. So then when I would sign up for all these services, I would start using Darkosto because I just didn't ever come up with anything. I was like, oh, it's cool. Yeah. I looked to see if it was ever like around. This person was also trying to use it. And it seems like after the game Star Wars died out, like there wasn't anything else. And they just never picked it back up, so you kind of inherited it? I guess. It's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. Do you think anybody came up to Dread Pirate Roberts and said, oh, you just stole the name? Yeah. No, it was handed down to me. Right. It wasn't officially handed down. It was unofficially. Right. Okay. Informally handed down. But I think it's an awesome name. It is an awesome name. People think that I there's a meaning to it or it means something. No, it's just a cool sounding name.
Yeah, because I was sitting here
That's
like,
okay.
Yeah, I was sitting here like, maybe like dark roast because you like, coffee and all these things.
I'm not that intelligent to make. I'm very bad with associations.
You are that intelligent. You just didn't think of it.
You are intelligent. You're just not intelligent in that way.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
We all have different intelligences.
We all have different
Children.
skills.
We present in different ways.
Wait, don't call us children. You hate children.
Now I was acting like I was a teacher, like in class. You all have different.
Oh.
Like when I used to tell kids, they used to tell me a bad story, and I was like, "That's really interesting." Wow,
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
Wow, you did so
I
well
loved
told.
interacting with you at extended periods of time.
So our second question, and this is also again to all of us, real quick, is
I feel so special.
does it ever get on any of your nerves when people don't use proper grammar / pronunciation or punctuation in a non-chat scenario? I understand abbreviations in chat, but in an email, when there is plenty of time to compose your thoughts, this actually bothers me a lot. Wondering if I'm alone in this irritation.
Yes, they're not alone, but yes, that does bother me.
Yeah.
In the certain
Supremely.
settings, it does bother me.
Yeah.
It actually bothers me. What bothers me the most, punctuation, grammar, especially as having gone through graduate school and needing to really have it be hammered into me. Mm-hmm. Yes, I recognize it. It bothers me. What bothers me the most is when people cannot get affected and affected correct.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It happens all the time. Mm-hmm. People say that event affected me, and I'm like, no, it did not affect you. It affected you. And it drives me up the wall.
My specific one that happens far too often is...
I'm being stared at.
No,
Like
no,
this
no,
is something
no.
that
Crap,
I do.
I lost it. I had it in my brain and I lost it.
Sorry.
Unexplainable. I hate it when people use the word unexplainable. It's inexplicable. And I think the thing that really set me off is there was a freaking Reese's commercial that got it wrong.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, that's your job! What are you doing?
I think that's the loudest I've ever seen your meter go. Cause
Inexplicable.
I've gotten pretty
is
loud
harder
this
to-
episode.
It's harder for people to see that commercial, and it's unexplainable is almost. It's
love
almost like
Reese's.
they purposefully did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Reese's. I felt betrayed. It's freaking inexplicable.
The brand has let you down.
I
Is
can't
that
eat
around
Reese's
the-
and feel the same.
I was about to say, is that around the time you stopped eating Reese's?
Nice.
No, I still eat Reese's.
I know, but like
It's-
way less.
That situation is one
Yeah,
of the
that's
many
because
things.
I'm old and I don't want to die.
That's a good point.
You're not old.
I'm old enough that if I eat one Reese's, I immediately regret it.
That's
1
true,
year
me too.
Off your life. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
That situation, by the way, sorry,
go ahead.
is one of the many things putting us down the downward spiral into idiocracy. Is the word of unexplainable rather than using
versus inexplicable. Yeah.
That's how the President Comancho is going to take over.
And he's going to fix the economy.
We got this guy. Not sure.
No, that said, as much as I can be an internal jerk about grammar and stuff like that, I try not to be too much of an outward jerk to people about it because language is ever evolving.
Sure.
If
True.
you use a word often enough, it becomes a word. Like, it's fine.
Like hella.
Just bottle it up.
Yeah, I do. I
not
shove
healthy.
it
I
down
just want-
into a really dark place.
It's not a healthy thing to bottle things up. Sometimes you need an outlet so that you
That's
don't.
why I talk to you
just-
guys.
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of our.
That's why whenever Jack messes up his grammar, I go apoplectic.
Yeah, I don't get a reprieve. It's just like, oh, nope, I did something wrong. I'm
Very
kidding,
nice.
of course. Like it's not that.
No,
bad.
yeah,
I am kidding.
Especially the one that you do often is I hope I do good, and I'm like, and under my breath I always go, well.
I know it's well, but sometimes
I
I,
hope I
say
go well.
good just
I
to
hope it goes
irritate
well.
them.
Oh my god.
But
I love that. I love the domestic grievances that get brought up so like passively.
yeah, they're great.
Jack does this thing all the time, and we're going to talk about it on a podcast.
I don't mind. The big stuff,
Okay, but
we
if
talk
you,
about.
if
So
you know me for real though, like if you have not seen me in a properly organic environment because I don't really have friends and
Not
we don't
true,
really get
but-
to see each other outside of this.
Right now. Yeah.
But like I'm like this with literally everyone I meet. Like once I'm comfortable with you, I will do the well thing
Yeah.
with you too. And I will be
You
like,
won't do it
yeah,
with me 'cause I
you
say
do
well.
this thing. Sure. But
They'll find something. They will.
So, sorry, but you didn't tell your...
yes, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
My turn to derail the conversation.
Nice. For me, it does bug me, but I get through it. It irritates me when I start noticing it in my own stuff. Like if I'm writing an email and I start to not do things the right way, or I start to like just abbreviate stuff and do like one sentence emails and stuff, especially when a thread gets really long and I'm tired of talking.
Yep.
Because I'm like, I've said my point, but I have to respond because, you know, it's the polite thing to do or something like that. It's one of those things where I'm like, I still have to remind myself, use a full sentence, use the proper, you know, punctuation.
Yeah.
Don't be a brat.
Be chipper, you know, because I can't not be friendly in an email. Even if I'm sending an email to someone who I'm like, I want to tell you so many bad words and say so many things about this situation, I still have to have Gray read over it, and I'll be like, do I sound too much like a jerk, or is this like the polite way to tell somebody to F off, you know? And then like I'll get like, you could be a little more forceful here, or you know, we installed Inevitable Grey. I did it again. Installed Grammarly on our Gmail the other day.
Oh boy.
Yeah, for our work account, because Jack always comes to me with those concerns and stuff like that. Like, did I spell that right, or like, is my grammar right, or yada
Right,
yada.
You automated it.
Yeah,
well,
a
kind
little
of,
bit.
because sometimes it can be like. It can be a sensitive thing, right?
Sure.
It's like you try really hard to write this like email or whatever, and you put all this effort into it.
Yep.
Sorry, the timer.
Beep. Beep. Hard stop. All right, see you later.
All right, bye.
Go ahead. Sorry,
No,
we've
but,
got a
like-
few more minutes. Yeah.
No, you put in all this effort to like write this really long email, and then like, you know, it sometimes it sucks to have to call another person in and just have that person be like, well, you did really bad. So,
Yeah,
so
start
then
it
that
over.
way it creates an extra barrier and makes both of us feel a little bit more self-sufficient that way. Because then we can just kind of like see the problems on our own, and then we feel less like, yes, destroy me.
But I brought up the Grammarly thing because I didn't know, and like it was just I was like, oh.
I mean,
there's
it
this-
was on our previous account too, but I think
just-
the new update was a little bit more obvious.
Yeah, because they started adding this like feature or whatever. Where it's like your tone sounds friendly,
Yeah.
and it has like a
interesting.
little smiley face and stuff on it. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
nice.
this is new. And I was like, hey, Gray, did you know this? And they're like, yeah, no, I installed this, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, can I get this to sound not friendly? And so like we started like I was like maybe I should send the real email first and then like type up a fake, and like we sat there for a couple minutes trying to like, all right, how can we like, what words can we put in here to make this sound mean, you know?
I wrote the B word.
Yeah.
And then you sent the wrong email.
No, we sent the right email.
Oh, okay.
I was so paranoid because we were sending, because it's our work email, so any emails we send would be to clients, and I'm like,
Thing is, though, it was one of our clients they're gosh dang sweethearts.
They are.
And
Bless
if
their hearts.
we explained what was that is an insult.
yeah,
I
coming
know.
from where we come from,
I know.
that
I
is,
lived down south too.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I said.
oh, bless your heart, Darkosto.
That's what I said. It's so passive aggressive.
Yeah.
But
It's
anyway,
because you
they
can't
would have
have
understood.
us have other clients.
Are you technically one of our clients?
Well, once or twice we've
Have
done
we-
a job
Some
for
money
you.
has been transferred.
Right.
Have we billed you through?
Yep.
I guess
once
we have.
or twice. but-
Yeah, I had to tell him to do that because I
wasn't
seem
going to.
work with people who just don't want to ever
Oh,
invoice me,
yes.
and I literally will be like, "Hey, I know it might be weird because they're like we hang out, but you did work and you should get paid." So,
Right.
having said that, for
Just communicate
bookkeeping
with
and
me.
yeah, so like for bookkeeping and tax purposes, let's do this.
Yeah, no, just communicate
and
with
then-
me.
And then imaginary friend Jack had the most awkward look, like we're talking about money, and I don't have a problem really doing that in most cases, and I'm like, just send me a bill.
Yeah. But then it became like that was early on, and now it's like, okay, the projects that we're doing kind of are mutually beneficial, so
Sure.
it's like but like if it were a thing where it's like,
Having
hey,
a client is mutually beneficial than that they pay you.
Yeah.
right. Well, I was gonna say, in this time, like for like the show and stuff, it's like, you know, we're both on screen, we're both getting something out of it. If it were the other way around, and you were like, hey, I want to hire you guys to do this.
He just really wanted to be your friend, and he was
did.
scared that if you looked at him as a business person,
I wouldn't
you would
have a
not
friend
want to
anymore.
be
I
his
would
friend.
respect you enough to pay you and be a friend, and I would respect that I'm not going to take advantage of you because we're friends to do work for me for nothing.
Aw.
If we weren't friends, screw you, man.
Having said that, the mindset that you have
Yeah.
is the mindset that people on my server have, and some people aren't financially doing well. And I'm like, right, people should be compensated
For the work that they do.
instead of just being friendly and nice to each other, because that really only goes so far.
Right.
Because then you end up with no money in your game and you can't buy food and you're having to pick tomatoes off the ground and eat them raw. Like, it's not bad
Okay, who is
to
it?
transfer money. It's just that obviously you shouldn't take advantage of people.
Right.
But it is okay
Is to get
to
paid for the
try
work
and
that you
make
do.
money.
Yeah.
I happen to have a lot of it in the game.
Who are you calling out?
So
I
I just
think I
want to
know.
point out, just because I'm rich, I'm not bad. I make jobs. Go ahead. I'm an entrepreneur. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Is
You're
there any
good.
more questions?
No, those were our two questions.
Okay.
But as we're kind of nearing the end of everything, the alarm went off. You know, I do want to end everything off on a positive note, like we always do, kind of sharing something.
Oh my god, I feel like we just came in here. Don't say goodbye.
I know it has been a good show. It's been
I miss you.
Yeah.
I miss you
We're not gone
guys.
yet. We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
I know,
and
but-
we have an extra thing that we're doing today too.
Extra things.
Yeah, but that's by ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. You
I'm
guys,
gonna be lonely.
you can always text us.
Lonely.
we'll be in the other rooms.
You guys don't reply when I text you.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's
I don't,
not. If
I
I'm
don't think I ever got
streaming,
any text.
I called you one time because
Oh, yeah.
you
You
butt
Called
dialed me.
I didn't actually know. I actually thought back. You thought that I butt dialed you, and I was very confused, and I figured out why.
why?
Yeah.
You lost your phone one day, and I called you so that you could buzz and find it.
No.
That's the only time I called you. I swear. I looked back, and it was that time.
That might be why you butt dialed though, is because you called before that to find the phone.
Oh, well, it didn't
And-
register on my phone. That's why I was confused. It didn't
Did it-
register that I called.
Sometimes they don't do that.
Yeah, sometimes-
Anyways,
But yeah, so yeah, you get a call from. Oh yeah, just like you got a call
I
from.
answered.
Yeah, you got a
answered
call.
the
You
phone?
did.
You
Yeah,
did.
no, you did.
it's very weird. I hate talking on the phone.
Oh,
I
if
talk
I
leftied, by the way, on the phone.
I mean,
Right,
I
we've
only
talked about
called
that
because I
before,
thought
yeah.
you were
Okay.
dying.
Like slowly, yeah.
Yeah.
Not anything that needed a phone call in emergency.
Yeah, no, I now that I know that, I feel bad about what I did the other day.
Oh, wait, you sent me a text?
No, the phone call on stream.
Oh, I don't really care. I was very confused. But I
Yeah.
also don't like talking on the phone.
Yeah, now that I know that, I won't do that. But I got swayed by chat, so
No, that's fine. That's
and
what they'll do.
they're sneaky. They had me do it. It was fun though.
Again,
and I enjoyed
will-
talking to you.
I will say that my evidence is that I have a chair
On
got
your
a
arm.
tattoo on my arm because
Yeah.
of chat. So
And my offer still stands. If we get 1 million consistent followers for like a month, I will let you pick a tattoo for me to get,
that sounds awesome.
as long as it's not offensive. That's the only caveat. Like
Offensive what?
Like it can't be demeaning to.
Like a white or white fence, white picket fence, or offensive. You
offensive.
said offensive. I was like, offensive.
That was my accent. I'm sorry. Offensive. You know. And
That's made of boards.
Yes.
Corrugated steel.
Yes. So, who wants to start with the happy, good thing for the week or this last 2 weeks?
Oh shucks, not me.
I have totally screwed my sleep schedule. I didn't eat dinner for 3 days.
Is that a good thing though?
No.
I want a positive note.
No, I'm just saying what I've been doing.
You found a game that you really enjoy
That's a positive thing.
for more than 60 hours.
Yeah.
I
I love the awkward silence that fills the room now.
found a game that I like.
Okay.
That I really enjoy. I really cannot. I'm trying to think of like an overly positive thing.
It doesn't have to
You know,
be
I know
overly.
what it is.
What's that?
It smells like autumn outside. It's my favorite season.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't have to be overly positive. It just has to be like a small thing. So the smell of autumn. It is autumn. It is getting near the spooky month. It is the leaves are starting to fall. That's a good thing. That's something that makes you happy. That's good. Gray, do you have one?
I got to see a couple of my friends and buy art supplies.
That's wonderful.
I feel like I'm in 4th grade and I'm telling people my name and 3 of my interests.
Did you ever have one of the crayon boxes that had the sharpener in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Those are
Yeah,
cool.
it was.
Those are cool.
Yeah,
Anyways.
those are cool. My positive thing would actually be from this morning. Gray and I went to go get coffee, and we got to see. We're kind of regulars at our coffee place. And
Kiddo is a cat.
yeah, and we pulled up and we saw one of the young ladies who works there that we haven't seen in a while because we've been coming at off times, and she instantly remembered our order even though it's been like 2 or 3 weeks, and she's like, oh my God, yeah, how's the kiddo? And we call our cats our kids. And so we thought...
But like in a really obvious way.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so we were
My
like...
kid's got a lot of hair. It's shedding. My child is shedding.
Well, and I think the last time we saw her...
The cat was
The
literally
cat was
in the car.
back because we had
Nice.
just come back from the vet and we were stopping to get coffee before we went home.
Makes sense.
And so she goes, how's the kiddo? And we're like, oh, he's fine.
He found a new cubby hole.
Because this morning, Tobe found out that he could get in the bottom cabinet of like our bookshelf because we leave it open specifically so the cats have a hiding spot.
Yeah.
And we didn't think anything of it. It was like, okay, cool, and then like the other one, Gray was like, yeah, and the other one's doing well too.
Yeah.
And then as we're getting, I've just paid, and then she goes, by the way, is the kiddo dairy-free too? Because we both are lactose intolerant. And we both kind of stop, and Gray just goes, kiddo is a cat. And her eyes just like, oh!
Oh, that explains the hiding.
Yeah.
There's like CPS on ready to go. Like their kid is hiding from them.
Yeah,
Cabinet.
like she even said like, oh, that must be like hard, like thinking, and I was like, but then I like filled it in with like,
Yeah, she was like, that sounds stressful. And
I
like,
was like-
that can be stressful sometimes. And like your cat is
when
like
you can't
hiding
find
away
them,
from
and
you.
and so I had made the comment, yeah, but we can see him because of where he is, and so it was this like perfect like comedy of errors situation, and just her eyes like just lit up like, oh, and I was like, yeah. Kiddo's a cat. We have 2 cats. And then as we're driving away, Gray looks at me and goes, how old does she think I am?
Because she knows we have 2 cats, which means she thought we had 2 children.
I mean, you could.
We could, but like...
But like, I've got a bit of a baby face as it is.
When I don't have my beard, I look like a baby,
Like, for us to have 2 children who are old enough to actually have like personality traits.
Besides just wobbly head, asleep, as babies are. But yeah.
Anyway, she was really sweet and she was really excited to see us. And that
Yeah.
was a really nice positive.
Yeah, so that was my positive for the day was, or the week.
That's a silly moment. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so again, it doesn't have to be like huge or anything like that. Just like a small moment like that, or like again, the smell of autumn, or getting to hang out with friends, especially in the
I mean, to
times
be
we're
fair,
in.
the amount of dramatics in my life makes everything huge.
That's true. That's true.
make
You
it
do
way
live
bigger.
a very dramatic life.
Make mountains out of molehills. Like sneezing. I make a big deal out of sneezing.
Yeah. Well, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It is a little warm
I'm
in here.
starting to, I feel like I'm going to sweat.
Oh, okay. Well, we will wrap it up so we can open up the door. But yes, thank you everyone so much for listening. If you have questions, you can send them to theroasto@gmail.com. I'm usually the one who gets them. And we will be happy to answer them live on air.
We don't promise that we'll answer them succinctly, though.
We can't promise that. But it's been a while since we've done this. Inevitable Gray, where can everybody find you?
The Inevitable Grey at most places, unless the characters are too limited, and thus I'll be Inevitable Grey, just Inevitable Grey. I am trying to stream more now, so I guess that would be twitch.tv/Inevitable Grey, probably. maybe TheInevitableGrey. I'm not sure which one it is. But
we'll figure it out.
if you want to watch me doodle,
Yeah.
that's where you can find me, I guess.
Yeah, and Darkosto.
And I'll be really awkward.
You can find me on the internet
Yeah,
and outside
and outside.
infrequently.
Okay.
And in your apartment. Don't
Yes.
show up to
Don't
Darkosto's
show up
apartment.
I prefer not.
Yeah. But you are on Twitter and Instagram.
I am on Twitter, Darkosto TV, and Darkosto on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And you can find me at twitch.tv/ImaginaryFriendJack or mostly on Instagram at ImaginaryFriend_Jack because somebody still has the Instagram handle
Nice.
ImaginaryFriendJack. And I feel like this is going to be like your war with...
Have you contacted them?
No, I haven't.
Go contact
No,
them. Give them $20.
I don't really care enough. _Jack is fine. I feel like it breaks up the word vomit that is my awesome name.
Sure.
So, yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We are going to go record something special for the spooky month here
dang.
shortly. So we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. We love you. Bye.
Make someone smile. Bye.
You know that seals are smelly?
This is not becoming a meme,
They
Darko.
have very smelly breath.
Do you have a list on your
Exceptionally-
phone of things to say post-credit?
Oh my
I
God,
live
just
a
say
life
goodbye.
of derailing comments and statements. Seals have very smelly breath.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.